Hello, everyone. Welcome to Stat Check episode 158. It's Ultramarines all the way down. And it is October 21st. Welcome to the show. I am Nathan, and I'm joined by Anthony. Innes is off this week because he has been struck by the travel curse after his trip to Sweden this last weekend, right? So yeah, it's just the two of us today. So you all get to put up with whatever chaotic nonsense the two people who didn't play a singles event this last weekend are going to get up to.
Yeah.
Which may just devolve into us talking about how the modern United States and Camorra, the Drukhari
They're basically the same
city,
thing.
are the same thing. So we may talk about that at some point, but that may be a little bit later after we get through like a brief stats review of where we're at and the standard start of this episode, which is Anthony. How are you doing, and how was your last weekend?
I'm pretty good. Last weekend we celebrated Anna's birthday, so we did a day where she's a big fan of the Studio Ghibli movies. So we did a day where we watched a couple of those, and then I made her food that's present in each of those movies as like a fun little thing to go with it. So that was cool.
You shared the menus in our back chat, and I thought
Yeah, it
those
was
were
sweet.
amazing. I was like, holy shit, this is great.
Yeah, it's really
Um,
cool. So that was a pretty good idea that I got from watching an Instagram reel of someone doing it with the Lord of the Rings movies. But apparently, you have to do it with the extendeds, because if you do it with the regular ones, there are too many scenes with food that run into each other, and you'll just end up like full and dying, because they go from like a tavern to like a campfire, and it's just like both of those are big meals, and you can't do that.
that's
Um,
amazing.
so yeah, that's probably what we'll do for my birthday is we'll do the Lord of the Rings ones.
Fair.
So we did that. Last week, what did I do? I was present for a lot of Warhammer, but did not play it myself. And I flew down to Virginia for like 18 hours to like meet the new company that I'm working with. That was really fucking
Nice.
awesome. It beat the brakes off the last time I had to do that for a job, which was like really awkward and like didn't get a super great vibe from a lot of the people. But doing it for this company was great, and everybody was really awesome. So yay! Um, so that was a fun little experience. I love planes, so I know a lot of people get like burned out when they fly a lot, but I am a fucking huge fan, dude. I'm up there, you know, happy as a clam. I fucking love flying. Something about the physics defiance really gets me, you know?
it it's funny because for me, like, I'm terrified of heights, but planes are the one place where I can stare out a window and be like, I'm fine because I'm ensconced in my giant metal science tube flying through the
Yeah,
sky.
the science tubes got me. The
The
science
science
tube,
tubes got me.
the science tube, and the really smart, well-trained person up front.
Hopefully, it's not a Boeing 737 Max or whatever it was
Well,
when they were
then
flying.
that's a science tube problem, not a
True.
not the guy up front problem.
There's nothing I could have done about that, so it's
Too late.
fine.
That's
It's
out of my
fine.
hands. Whatever.
Damn. I've seen videos of people doing the Lord of the Rings like meal thing
Oh
with a
yeah,
guy dressed up as Gandalf bringing out each of the meals in
that's
sequence.
amazing.
So you just got to convince Anna to dress up as Gandalf between things to bring you meals, is all I'm saying.
You can get her some stilts.
Got to get started on the training for the stilts now. You know, you can't have any bumbling around, falling, potentially injury happening.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
How was your weekend? How was
Was,
living in war-torn Chicago?
oh, it's crazy outside. Everybody can see it like through this little neck
Just nothing.
window.
Just every once in a
nothing.
while, a person walks past. That's it.
Exactly. There's nothing happening in Chicago. There were really large protests for No Kings
There was a ton of
on
those here.
Saturday. It was like 100 some odd thousand people
Yeah.
marching through downtown Chicago. I was at something that I already had planned to be at, so I did not go to that. But otherwise, on Sunday we had like a nerd potluck for our D&D like
Oh, hell
community
yeah.
from our local game stores. We all got together in like a park and like grilled out and had food, which was great. And otherwise, I've been getting some 40K stuff done, planning out some games. We're doing a 5-man teams event on TTS, and I am the weakest link in our stat check team,
You are
as
you
is
are
the
guys
way.
are team stat check for the Swedish league.
Yep, Team Sadcheck in the Swedish TTS League, and I have been matched up into the Eldar Mirror for our first game. So
You
that's
got this.
yeah.
You'll be all right.
Other than that, nothing a lot happening here. It's just being unemployed. It's a continual struggle to continue
Dude.
put resume into the universe and hope that one day resume comes back and you don't feel terrible.
It is. It's just so frustrating how much easier it has been for me to get a job every single time through any other method than that. But you have to do that because if any of them hit, that's it.
Yeah. It's what it is. It's like one
Yeah.
thing. Also, my favorite thing is that the one engineer, I guess, which is Alex Taus, is like in the chat talking about the engineering errors that happened with the plane.
Yeah.
I love it. This is how you know that there are smart people in the StatCheck YouTube chat.
That's right.
Who are not me. I only engineer organs. I can't engineer planes. And
I can't engineer anything. Oh, networks. Never mind. Boom.
there you go.
Out
See,
there.
you network engineer. Exactly. Look at us, engineers all around, making every other really old engineer like die a little inside from hearing all these new engineering
A
types.
good friend of mine from the old MMO days. His name is Brian. He's probably the smartest man I've ever met. Not to be confused with Brian Sipe, who is not the smartest man I've ever met. The
Sorry, the delay there for a second.
Was an electrical engineer. He had like a PhD in it and stuff. And I used to tell him that we were both engineers all the time just to wind him up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It is fun to just wind people up with being like, yeah, I'm a bioengineer. Heavy on the bio, not on the engineering. Just
right.
Watch some poor person who had to sit through statics and dynamics slowly die inside as they listened to my biological ass who only took 2 semesters of calculus trying to convince them I was an engineer.
Yeah.
I promise. I engineer shit. I swear. Yeah, I don't know. Otherwise, things are fine. War-torn Chicago is so incredibly not peaceful, as you can tell in the background.
It's the calmest your background's ever been, dude.
I know it's true. It's because it's like windy as shit outside.
That makes
my wife
sense.
and I we walked down to Wrigley Field to play Pokemon Go for a minute, and the wind was like pushing the trees totally 45 degrees. This is great.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh man, there are questions about what I do for a life, and I don't know that I'm going to answer those questions right now, but maybe at the end of the show.
All right.
All right. So I guess we'll talk about stats.
Bring it to me, numbers, man. Hit me with the devil's magic.
The devil's magic. Yeah, I'm going to share my screen, which is always a terrifying thought process that I'm doing.
Oh, no, that's simple. That's man magic. That's just IT stuff.
Yeah, every single time that I try this, though, is like vaguely silly. So we're going to share the dashboard today because you hooligans love numbers. And because we don't have fully updated stats for the week, we're instead going to go through kind of where we're at with the meta. We'll break open some things. We can look at attachments, and Anthony can tell me what the numbers mean is what Anthony can tell me. Anthony can tell me what number mean.
Oh, no. That's dangerous.
I know, right? But I want you to.
Telling you what number mean is pretty safe. Me coming up with the numbers is where we go astray.
Honestly, it's funny because people will constantly say that. And I'll be like, Anthony is secretly just keeping it to himself that he can numbers real good.
I can numbers if it's dice math real good. I am usually pretty good at being like, no, that kills 8, and it being like 8.6 or something.
Yeah. I mean, that's all that's important. Yeah, right. Anthony loves numbers and tier lists, but secretly, and nobody can know about it.
If you open my YouTube history, it's just a fucking wall of tier lists for other shit.
It's true. It's just a tier list of tier lists is what Anthony makes in his secret, like masked VTuber content. Anthony makes VTubes clearly, where he has a persona who makes tier lists of tier lists.
That's my actual day job. Is I'm a VTuber in Meta Exile and I make tier lists.
This is the kind of hard-hitting Warhammer 40k coverage that everybody expected from
this week's episode when they saw it was just us. They at least should have.
Yeah, true. This is what they should have expected. All right. I don't think anybody's terribly surprised by AdMech being the top via win rate. This is all sorted via win rate.
Yep.
At 58%, a 1.32 over rep, a 15% 4-0 start, which actually is real good.
That's a big
4 event
number.
wins, and then
That-
making up 3% of the player population. It is big number. 15% 4-0 start is only smaller than the Sisters, which is a 20% 4-0 event start.
Sisters are probably too good in a way that I don't want to see nerfed, so I struggle with the too good part.
It's kind of strange because I don't think I have seen a Sisters player recently, and I don't think I've figured out what is so amazingly good about Sisters because nobody else is complaining or talking about it.
Oh no, like I do a little bit of occasional help with Sisters just because one of my coaching clients likes them.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like again they're just like they're a smidge too good, but not in a way that feels super egregious unless you let Vol activate more than twice.
So we're still just centered around Vol and hoping that things go good.
Well, the rest of it does stuff too, but Vol is like fucked up supreme. She's the tip of the fucked up spear.
What is the rest of the fucked up spear when we're talking about the Adeptus Sororitas army?
I think that the sacrosanct thing being as cheap as it is makes it really powerful, and then that combines with champs to either give them a bunch of OC and movement, or Hollowed Martyrs to give them a really hilarious fight on death. If you have a local Chaos player who thinks that his Warp Talons are hot shit, introduces them to the Maces of the Faithful Dead. That shit is fucking rough, dude.
I just love how that was basically a metal band.
Yeah.
Maces of the Faithful Dead. I love it.
Yeah, someone write that down.
um,
Yeah, they're just like pretty good. They're not like they don't blow anybody's mind. I did
what
see.
is? Oh, go ahead, Anthony.
I did see a suggestion to put the Triumph into champs builds, and I did a little bit of poking around with that. That's pretty hot. She is not that expensive for how much gas she gives one of those all-rounder builds. So that was pretty cool. I'll probably try that out.
What is the Sacrosanct build exactly? Just for me, a person who hasn't looked at a Sisters model or army in a while.
The one we have a local wonder Chris playing for the team event that the boys are going down to is 3 Hospitalers, June, Vol, a Sister Squad, an Immolator, a Rhino, 3 Castigators, 30 Sacrosancts, Vol's unit of Homegirls, a unit of 5 Retributors, and 1 Penitent Engine and 3 Arco-Flagellants.
Arcos continuing to be the thing that will be in every Sisters list for all eternity.
They're not like, I mean, it's just a little 3-man. They're just like, they go over there and do something maybe. So they've been pretty good. Nothing, life-changing, but pretty cool. The fun little trash piece is, like, honestly, the quiet key to the list. That Penitent Engine is so fucking annoying.
It's like something that you need to dedicate like a certain amount of stuff to, or just like keeps trucking no matter kind of what you do to it, and it doesn't die to any kind of variety of small arms fire.
Yeah, and it just like zips around, being like, "Here's 2d6 of Twin Linked Flamer, punch you in the head 4 times at strength 10." Like, knock it off, leave me alone. Stop
Damn
tank
it!
shocking me.
Stop being a chaos spawn, but with tank shock.
Yeah,
please,
yeah,
please.
Spawn shock, dude. Please.
Spawn shock. Damn. All right, let's poke at the Adeptus Mechanicus win rate then real quick, and then we'll poke at the Sisters one if it doesn't freeze. Okay, so it's mostly Skitarii Hunter cohort for win rate with a 61% win rate, but it's all Halo Screed for everything else. Halo Screed with a 57% win rate. It's most of the play. The play rate was 65 players compared to 26 players for Skitarii, with all the event wins with 15% 4-0 event start and 1.72 over rep, which I think makes sense.
Yeah.
Halo Screed kind of uptunes the shit out of like Rust Stalkers and some other stuff that people love to play.
Yeah, Skitarii Hunter Cohort is just like an objectively pretty good detachment, right? It's good at doing the thing that Admech was already, pre-damage buff good at doing. Halo Screed does fucked up stuff, which is why it has a similar win rate, but also all of the event wins. Because there is a big difference between doing stuff pretty well and pretty efficiently and doing stuff that is just fucked up. So, yeah.
You mean you don't like 34-inch threat range movement on
No,
Skitarii Rust Stalkers and stuff like that?
I don't like the newer version of what Dan's been running that has a whole bunch of infiltrators, like 10-man units that start in the midboard and then finish their movement phase and inch outside your deployment zone before they advance and charge. Yeah, no, not a
Yeah,
huge fan of
that's fine.
that.
No, damn.
So we'll see.
We'll see.
I really, my great hope for AdMech is that they don't nerf the rules, because I think AdMech is finally doing what it probably should have been doing the entire time. But I wish what they would do is just like knock the whole army up like 10% in cost and clip back the fact that everything is like just too cheap.
Yeah.
And then just work backwards from there.
It's like I don't think they're doing anything exceptionally crazy. It's just that they have too many bodies and are able to do it too many times.
Good. Yeah, they're really, really good at both shooting and fighting. And, you know, they're too fast and they have too much stuff. And I think that, like, them being good at shooting and fighting is fine because they're, you know, built up to do decent combined arm stuff. That's not a big deal. But there is just, like, way too many of them.
Yeah. The army is also quite delicate in a lot of its pieces. So it does just vanish if
it is
play bad.
Most of it's multi-wound. A lot of it has invulns. It's like if Eldar was 2 wounds, dude. It's not, I would not describe it as fragile.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I guess I think of Ruststalkers and Infiltrators as pretty delicate, but maybe they are not.
But again, they're 2 wounds. They're T4, not 3. They're 5 up invuln all the time. They're annoying.
That's fair. I do agree with that.
You can definitely whiff, I guess is how I would describe them.
I did definitely experience that when I played Halo's Creed into Orcs and just watched a unit kind of flail about, and then I was like, cool, and then immediately died.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
It happens. All right. For Sisters, it looks like basically Champions of Faith, 57% win rate, a 3.3 at overrep, which is really just a fragment of them being a 1% represented. And then a 21% 4-0 start with one of the event wins for the faction. And then Bringers of Flame has the other event win for the faction, is what it looks like based on this data.
Bringers is still pretty good. I mean, if the gun components of Sisters are good at any point, making them fast is not bad.
It does seem like fast gun is still quite good, right?
It's still all right, yeah.
Yeah. Those are the only 2 factions that are like outside GW's 55 to 45 balance window on the top side. We'll talk about some more stuff in a second. We're just going to cycle down to the bottom side of it, and then we'll kind of pick our way through it, like the fact that Space Marines have 6 event wins in just a second. At the very bottom, and the only faction, because Imperial Agents doesn't count, I'm sorry, Imperial Agents players, until GW gives you like a fully fleshed out army rule, you're just not a real faction, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. You could probably be pretty cool, provided that GW gave you the attention that you needed to be a full-fledged faction instead of kind of the mishmash that you are right now. But it looks like Astra Militarum is kind of the bottom performing faction. I don't think Astra Militarum players are going to be all that mad, though, because they have a 44% win rate, which isn't amazing, but is only slightly outside the window. They have a 1.11 overrep, which is fine within kind of like the frame of balance that we usually judge it at, which is like less than 1.25 and above 0.75 essentially is kind of the okay range for where you want to be. They have a 7% 4-0 event start, which is normal. And then they have 3 event wins.
Which is up there relative.
Which is quite a bit.
Yeah.
3 event wins puts them, I think, essentially tied for 4th, essentially.
Which is like, that's pretty good.
Yeah. It's pretty good, especially for a faction that's like on the fringe for every other statistic, right? For every other analytic that we kind of use.
It's on the edges of win rate. It's on the edges of play rate. Like, yeah.
And then, like, when you look into their stats, they're also doing just fine. Like, their event wins are spread across 3 different factions. These overreps are crazy, but they're caused by this, which is that they have like 7 players. So we're not really going to look at overrep right now because it's kind of hyperinflated. But their 4-0 event start is like 13, 14, and 8 for the 3 that have 1 events, and they have 1 event win between Bridgehead, Recon, and Combined Arms.
Notably, Recon was LVO, which is a large event, right?
Right. And like otherwise, they're at a 55 and a 53 for Recon and Bridgehead, and then a 44 for Combined Arms, and then everything else is under 44. But like having 3 detachments win events is pretty solid. So yep. I don't know that I would complain necessarily if I was the Astra Militarum player at the moment, because you're doing just fine if you dig under the hood of that tank just the littlest bit.
Yeah.
I do think Emperor's Children are in a weird spot though, with a 14% 4-0 event start and no event wins.
You know, just
Um,
haven't had the right pilots playing them at events to bring it home. Soccer got pretty close last weekend, and that was at the
it's true.
giant French event.
And then there are Space Marines. Um, Space Marines probably should have about 6 event wins. Like, that's not a crazy thing for them to have. They are the most represented faction outside of World Leaders, essentially, for pure Space Marines.
Yep.
World Leaders are currently the most represented faction outside
Which
of
is
Codex Space
just
Marines.
so funny. Though I would bet you that that's like on the decline. Just anecdotally, like looking at events and stuff, it does seem like there are much fewer of them now.
Yeah, we'll have to take a look at it. Okay, Librarius. I don't even care what's going on there. I'm not even going to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the dashboard doing us a favor because you shouldn't look at Librarius.
Yep. The event wins for it are 3 for Shadow Mark, which has a 62% win rate and a 2.71 overrep with 1% relatively of the base. 1 event win in Stormlance with a 10% 4-0 event start. 1 event win in Iron Storm and 1 event win in Gladius Task Force.
Yeah.
Yep. Which, that's a really good spread. Shadow Mark might be considered a problem.
I was going to say, Shadow Mark looking like it needs a tap.
Yep. I don't know what kind of tap yet, but definitely a tap of some kind. And it's probably like a rules tap. Maybe you can't affect certain units with some of the stuff that you can do.
I mean, they probably should just... I mean, it'll kill the detachment probably if they do it, but they should probably remove Centurions from the Uppy Downy strat.
Or put them back to the increased points cost that they were at when they, like...
Well, you just shouldn't.
Dithered with them
they're
quite a
not a
bit.
problem in
I don't
other
know.
detachments, right? Like, it's not that big of a deal.
It's also the only detachment I think they're really taken in, though, right? Like, nobody else is taking Centurions.
Yeah, I mean, I see them.
Think.
I see them around. Like, you know, it just kind of depends.
True. All right. Then the other 2 big ones are Tau Empire, which is actually kind of the surprise, but is also kind of funny because I think you and I kind of kept talking about the fact that Fast Gun should be good. And then we've kind of hit the critical mass of like points, ability changes, and data sheet changes for Tau to actually just be amazing at this point.
Yeah, Tau's just strong. I don't know that their pilots are super thrilled about the ways in which it is good, but, you know.
Yeah, I mean, which is fair. You can be unthrilled about how your army is strong if you really don't want to play that way. And that's how I felt about Drukhari for a lot of this edition. While people like Skari have seen success with it, is that like, the third column, because somebody asked, is 4-0 event start.
Yep.
So we have, by win rate, it's Ox Cadre. They have a 1.86 overrep and then a 10% 4-0, but no event wins. But Retaliation Cadre is at a 56 with a 2.39, 15%, and then an event win. Now, the bulk of their event wins, though, are in Montcalm Kroot Hunting Pack, which I find very peculiar. There are 2 event wins in Kroot Hunting Pack, and I don't understand that, and I don't know how to process that information.
I mean, it's just a decent detachment when you spam the data sheets that look like they would be not reasonable to spam. They can be, in the end.
True.
You just get choked up on Rampager bodies and stuck on 5 wound idiots.
I mean, I guess that's fair, yeah.
Yep. They have the only profile that is defensively sound into 1,000 Suns, which is wound count.
There you go. The only defensive profile that's reasonably good. I think Montcalm makes kind of a lot of sense. I don't know. Yeah, 53%, 1.22, 10%, and a 2 event win.
I mean, they're just good. Both those detachments are just pretty good. It's not like, again, it's not super exciting, but...
Yeah, I think a lot of people just don't want to play the kind of the prison that you can do with some of these things with like Pathfinders and stuff like that, where you can just lock your opponent into their own deployment zone and then they never get to leave and you win, because if they expose themselves, they immediately get annihilated by firepower from Riptides or Suits or Commanders or something. And engaging that really tiny Pathfinders unit is just never quite of value, right?
No. It depends on the degree to which it puts you in the open, but you're not going to be happy afterwards either way.
No. Cool, I have traded my 200-point combat unit for this tiny Pathfinder unit that then immediately turned the 200-point combat unit into dust during the shooting phase.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So yeah, Tau seems all right. They're probably in an interesting spot in teams. I haven't had to think about a team comp in a little bit, but they seem like they could do something.
And the other 5-event win is Eldari, who I think are just here forever.
They're just, they've been
And
there
just-
the whole time, dude. Why would they leave?
They're not going to leave. And it is kind of the suspects that everybody would predict. Although we have Seer Council showing up at a 59% win rate. It's just 12 players though, so it's a really tiny.
That's one of the 3 and 2 factions. Hell yeah, dude.
Yep, really strong 4-0 event start energy is what I'm seeing from them, but no closeout.
No closing.
Aspect Host is the big one. They have around a 56 to 58% win rate. Reasonably good overrep, 9% 4-0 event start, and then they have all the event wins. But that is in part because 3%. All but one. Sorry, Warhost has one.
I was like, wait a minute.
And that is because they have most of the player population kind of shoved into Aspect Host.
Sure.
The rest of it is shoved into Warhost, which has 53% win rate, 1.5 overrep, 7% 4-0, and then a single event win.
Woohoo.
I mean, Warhost is a good one. Aspect Host just kind of removes all of the ability for you to like fail at stuff when trying to do stuff, right? By being able to reroll hits or wounds or do other stuff.
You can't make mistakes with Aspect Host, though. Aspect Host has a very narrow set of, like it has very poor mistake tolerance.
Yep. Warhost gives you the outs, and Aspect Host gives you fewer outs and more efficiency at doing things, I guess, is kind of like... Around. Is it?
Yeah, Aspect is more efficient because it does more damage and it has rerolls.
Oh, did I say it the opposite way?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. The host and the host. Warhost is the one that gives you outs. Yeah. No. Yeah. But yeah, Warhost lets you flee repeatedly.
Yeah.
Aspect Host lets you shoot or fight better. There you go. Words from mouth now in logical sequence.
It looks like they finally killed Harlequins.
They're doing better than the Ynnari.
Another thing they are desperately trying to get rid of.
Yeah, they have effectively gotten rid of the 2 more interesting sub-factions that are present in the Eldari super faction.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's not really okay. The funniest part is that you can tell from like a lore perspective that GW just really wants to get away from Ynnari as well.
Yeah, they were like, shit, our bad.
And they put one of the swords that they're looking for, one of the crone swords they're looking for in lore to revive the Death God inside of Slaaneish's palace, where they can't go.
Yeah.
And they're like, oopsie daisies, you're not going in there.
Ask about this. Fuck.
And then they had all of Yvrane's like allies abandon her, basically. Like Eldrad canonically now has left, and so has Janzar, and so has Lilith. They've all just kind of left.
That seems bad, yeah.
That does seem like the death throes of a faction at that point. We're just like one edition away from them legendsing like Yvrane and the Incarnate and stuff, basically. It feels
Look,
like.
I will sacrifice Yvrane and the Incarnate if it gives me back my fucking grotesques.
That data sheet in Legends is also fucking cracked as hell and is very funny.
Just so good. I'm going to run a Legends Allowed local RTT and just smash nerds with the grotesques.
No, we got to save this material for later, Anthony. We got to save it for after the stats review.
Sure.
Otherwise, like, it doesn't... This meta looks okay if you were just looking at it, I think, right? And the meta feels mostly okay. I don't know what your perspective kind of is on that. There's only like a couple factions that are kind of more outrageous, and then the bottom doesn't have as many factions in it as we're kind of used to.
Mm-hmm.
It feels pretty level at the moment. Blake, I don't think we track play rates over time at the moment, unfortunately. We could maybe do that, though. That would be an interesting thing to look at. But I don't know. Right now, it looks like the meta is pretty narrow in the band of performance, but spiky on a week-to-week basis, which I think is kind of what you were talking about when we kind of entered into this post-chapter approved meta.
Yeah, things are just pretty balanced right now. So week over week, if you look at just like an individual week, it's going to be a fucking mess because it's going to depend entirely on who is playing what at which events.
Right.
But like insofar as balance goes, that's a good thing, right? Like it depends on the, the end state of balance is that you want it to depend on the players, right? So.
Yep. So we might actually be, it seems like, well, we still have to wait to see what the Drukhari data looks like coming out, I guess is the last bit of data that we need to come out after Codex release. And then we need to see like if there's anything else coming from this Space Marine marathon of rules and datasheet releases.
I guess we'll see. I am
we'll see.
curious to see what Drukhari end up doing when like it gets real, because like I've seen a lot of people be like, oh, they're just so hard to play, and like I'm not gonna lie, the games I've played of Reaper's Wager have been the most like straightforward games of Warhammer I've played in ages. Maybe it's just like, oh my god, I can trade and I have trash and guns, so it seems a lot easier. But man, it's just not that hard to put your 24-inch moving unit on the enemy's objectives and deny them 5 points.
What are you saying, that it's not incredibly taxing to put an OC-12 bike unit on somebody else's objective and then shoot them full of stuff? Or 2.
Yeah.
And then you got 24 and you're shooting them full of lances and running them over with mortal wounds at the same time. Are you saying that's not hard? Yes, I did say we still had a cavalcade of Marines releases.
Yeah,
hence the title of the show.
Yeah.
So don't worry, guys. We know that there's more coming, and it's almost all Ultramarines. We just don't know what.
I
shape
hope they
it
give
takes.
Ultras a better Gladius and then strip them of the +1 to wound.
That would be both very funny, but I also think like people would be like, I want to complain, but I don't know how.
Yeah, which way?
Which way are we complaining?
Yeah.
We complaining about 2 good Ultramarines rules, or are we complaining about loss of +1 to wound? You can't have both complaints.
Yep.
I honestly hope, because they're putting Calgar into Terminator armor, that is just another First Company Redux, and that would be very funny to me personally. That we would have 4 different versions of First Company.
They were like, no one plays this, but if we make 5 new versions, someone will play one of them.
And it does feel like somebody might be playing the Iron Hands one.
Innes is gonna try.
Innes definitely is a little too excited about it in the background, which makes me very fearful of my continued existence.
He just wants to believe.
Look, it's okay. And Innes believing is like 90% of his struggle, I suppose, with doing well and performing well at events.
Yeah.
Other than that, there's not like a lot to talk about. We'll talk about the last couple of weeks next week when we have all the data up to date, and then we'll probably be doing a tier list at some point relatively soon once we get some of the Drukhari data in, so that we can remove the old data from the equation.
Right.
And then we can kind of have a look at where we're at immediately post the full codex release for the edition, because we finally hit that magical point where all the codexes are out. And now we get to see what happens.
And the game's suddenly fun again. Wow.
Yeah.
What?
Wow. What a crazy, crazy thing. What an interesting thing we've hit. How are NIDs at 50%? Asks Pavel. It's because they are boring, and they're at 50% because they're boring.
Oh, I was going to say it's because Sam Pope's been playing singles again. He's responsible for like 8% of that win rate.
They do have 3 event wins, so I guess I'll open it just because I can.
Yep. 2 of them are him, I'm pretty sure.
There's 1 Vanguard, 1 Subterranean, and 1 Invasion fleet, and they're at 53, 51, and 48% win rates, respectively.
Yeah, he's bounced between Invasion fleet and Sub-Assault, I'm pretty sure. So,
which I think is the vast majority of the player base. Yeah, 2 and 2 are just like that's most of it are in Subterranean Assault or Invasion fleet. And I guess the only metric that's kind of a little sketchy right now is GT wins, which is like Death Watch without 1, Grey Knights without 1, Custodies without 1, Thousand Suns without 1.
Relative to their player rep is just the funniest.
It's not great for that faction. There are 6 factions right now, not including Imperial agents, that currently don't have event wins, which might not be great.
Yeah.
World leaders being with a 7% the most, while still being within the balance window for everything else except their 10% 4-0 event rate start, which is very high.
Yeah.
And then
that is
this, folks, is why we don't look at just over rep, and then we scroll
Josie.
2 columns over to 4 players. Remember, people, that low faction play percentage hyperinflates at very low numbers, so always good to know. But yeah, that's Josie, right? That's just Josie.
What event did Gore-Track Onslaught win?
I don't know. We'll have to look at that in the backing data a little bit later, but they did win, and they do have a 3.1, but again, it's a factor that there are only 6 players on it. 229 players, as compared to 6, 1, and 4 for the other high-performing factions is definitely telling a story. The next highest played detachment in World Eaters is Khorne Demonkin with 14 players. So
all codex detachments are an equally valid usage of your time, I promise.
Yep. And yeah, Berserker Warband's doing just fine. It's got an event win, 10% 4-0 event start, 51% win rate,
it's
0.8 over rep. It's fine.
It's right where it needs to be, right in the middle.
Exactly. Things can be just okay is also a thing that I think people need to take in as a message. It is fine for your faction to be okay and like acceptably good.
They're great in teams.
Yeah, there you go. Start playing teams. And on that note, I'm going to stop sharing the screen. You can all look at it. It's www.stat-check.com/the-meta. The-meta, sorry. My apologies.
God damn it.
If you want to go do it. All right. It will also be very funny if Victrix Guard lose their invulnerable save. That will make me very amused as well.
Oh no, I've just like mentally accepted that Victrix are going to be like 25 points per guy, and they're going to have 3 wounds and a 4-up, and they're going to have 4 attacks that hit on 2s, and I'm just going to scream when I have to play against them.
It makes me so mad that random stuff gets 2-ups to hit, and then I can't get 2s to hit on fucking Wolfguard Terminators or something like that. Like, the guys just have power axes. Let them hit on 2s.
I mean, yeah, look, I think a lot more things should hit on 2s in melee, but so it is.
True. Floof, I'm not going back through everything. As much as I love you dearly, we're not doing it. I can't do it.
Yeah.
All right. So that's it for stats. We seem to be in a spot where things are okay. And
good.
we'll see if anything changes. And like we have a bunch of stuff that's coming out over the next week or two, it seems like. And hopefully that doesn't destabilize the meta. And then maybe GW has plans for another Grotmus detachment, like lottery. I don't know.
Just give me Psychic Awakening, dude. Do just a blitzed out Psychic Awakening. Just fuck this edition up right at the end, too.
I want Drukhari to be the major villain of 11th, and then just like the Christmas present is like all of the Legends data sheets re-released in plastic. That would be great.
Yeah.
And Vect cruising in on a plastic Tantalus. You know, as long as I can dream for big things, might as well dream for all of the things at the same time.
Yeah, dude. It'll be fine.
Yeah, definitely be fine. All right. So why don't we talk about Drukhari for a second?
Okay.
I know you haven't been playing it as much, but what are we thinking for Drukhari at the moment?
I think they're good. I stand by most of the stuff that I'd said in the review I did with POW. It just, you know, it's still pretty good. I don't think I'd run 10s of Hellions. I'd probably do 5s and just use them as shitty little intercessor removers. I think you're less likely to be upset at them that way. I have started taking the Clown Brick because sometimes I don't need something... I don't need another point-efficient way to do 6 damage to something. I need that thing to be dead.
So you're taking a 10-man brick of troops
11,
or like a 5-man? Oh, well, yeah, an 11 with a Shadow Seer or something?
The Shadow Seer, because it's if I play Drukhari, it'll probably be on GW terrain most of the time, because I'd just be playing it here to fuck around.
Yeah.
So I've been playing that because it has Lone Op, and that's pretty funny, and it does a lot of mortal wounds to stuff. Sometimes it gets like a little out of hand too. It's a funny one.
Yeah. I guess it's a good question. You've played more practice games with Drukhari than I have. Do you think the pain tokens mechanic works out okay?
Well,
kind
I've
of in
only
games that you've played so far.
So I've played 4 games of Drukhari. I remembered that I get a pain token in my command phase, every command phase of mine, on the 4th one. So it's been fine generation-wise. It's worth noting that like the 4 games were like 20, 20, 18, 16, or 16, 18 or something like that. So like I think in games like that, you're always gonna have plenty of pain tokens for the most part. But it's been pretty cool. I don't really have, like the Incubi getting something to help them out against tough infantry is cool. They still just fold like shit to -1 damage, which is sad.
That kind of feels like the Drukhari army's just general problem, though, is that it kind of is either damage 1, damage 2, or Melta. And that's kind of it.
Yeah. I mean, you get a bunch of haywire in there, but that stuff is real bad into the stuff that it's bad into, so...
Yep. You mean like anything that's not a vehicle?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's weirdly okay. Like, the Talos ones are, like, weirdly funny into 3-wound infantry, because you can just be like, that guy's dead, because they're twin-linked.
Yeah. The twin-linked haywire on the Talos is the exception there, where it's kind of like, I can keep re-rolling this and hoping that I kind of just spike some sixes, right? Yeah. Maybe you just take it.
Yeah. So, yeah, the paint mechanic's been pretty cool. It's fine. Big fan of the Vect that you can pop in and out of a transport. That shit's funny.
Is that Malice? Malice
Yeah.
has the... Yeah. I love that you can play like 4 to 6 Talos right now and it feels good. Like that feels like much more back to where I was, especially because I have like probably 9 converted Talos like floating around in my army bag.
Assuming you played Thick City, you have 9 somewhere.
I did. I have at least 9 in that bag, along with a bunch of Chronoses and a bunch of really hideous witches that I painted when I first started.
Very quickly.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of excited about it. I played exactly 1 game with Drukhari so far. And I played with 18 bikes and kind of just roamed around, like cutting up people with movement and mortal wounds from like its flyby mechanic and then shooting things with Melta and being relatively fine with that. Was it the most exciting way to play Warhammer 40k? Maybe not, but it was very funny watching that unit go 24 inches and then pop somebody for funsies.
I mean, I really love Reaper's Wager. It's a super fun detachment to play.
Mm-hmm.
Some of that is that my, like, you know, broken, shattered mind suffers when I don't have rerolls in World Leaders now. So when I get to go back to just rerolling ones, I'm like, oh, this is so nice.
Some efficiencies? Damn.
Just some like shit avoidance, you know, when you roll 5 dice and 4 of them are ones, and you're like,
this is
okay.
I definitely like that just for Drukhari in particular because they're so sensitive to that. It seems like on all of their combat units, it's like oops-a-doodles. Yeah.
Melee units are just always like, oh, I whiffed. Oh no.
I'm in big danger. Yeah. Especially when you're a T3 idiot with a single wound and like a 3-up base save and no access to any protection.
You just kind of die and that's fine.
Yeah.
I got to have a game already where I leapt out of a venom that I had to leave kind of in the open, killed a thing behind a wall basically, and then had a dreadnought turn a corner on it, not kill the venom in shooting because it just like whiffed, and I was like, oh, which meant that like the next activation that was going to kill the contents couldn't. You had to tank shock the transport. I was like, yeah, we're back.
Spend that CP. Hope you roll some 5-ups.
Yeah, it was funny.
There's nothing quite like forcing your opponent to like pay a CP for a tank shock to do something that they didn't want to fucking do.
Yeah, and then like the tank shock is hitting the box, not the elves, so it's just like.
So they may in fact survive because that dreadnought only has like 4 attacks.
Oh yeah, no, they didn't even get touched. They didn't make the dreadnought couldn't after it like the way it had.
Because
make it to the other side of the venom.
You're like, ha. Look at that. My
2 Gravis Marines stapled together kept that dreadnought at bay.
Venoms are funny because they are so delicate. Like, what is this chassis that gets blown up 4 to 6 at a time if like a shooting army even sneezes in their casual direction?
Dude, a pair of rhinos might kill your venom.
It's true. It's a funny lifestyle the Drukhari army leads of these ablative wounds better survive so my other wounds inside of the transport can get out and maybe trade for something with more wounds than them.
Hopefully.
Or for an objective.
Yeah.
Hopefully. We keep dreaming, running on the edge of our pants. Yeah, Malice doesn't just eerily look like Shadowheart from Baldur's Gate 3. I think she just is Shadowheart from Baldur's Gate 3.
They have so much faith in their IP infringement lawyers, honestly.
They do, because they're like, yeah, what are you going to say that you have a copyright on the pale elvish people who have
with
black
dark hair? What are we doing?
Yeah, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Some IP lawyer is going to look at them and be like, I can't do this. This is not a thing that I can prosecute, guys.
Yeah. Yep.
I've had Neos kill an Venom in Overwatch to stop the no Overwatch Archon from getting out and making an unfailable charge. That's the rudest shit I've ever heard
That
of in
grinds
my
my gears,
entire
dude.
fucking life.
That makes me upset.
Wow.
Holy fuck, that's bad.
Oh, that makes me incredibly upset. I hate everything about that, and I wish you hadn't put it into the open like that.
The only reason that I can even consider playing Drukhari locally is that we don't really have a lot of people that play GSC. Because just playing GSC at all with Drukhari is just like, no, please.
I can't. There's not enough knives to stab in this many bodies, guys.
And
like,
I'm
what am I
getting
supposed to
stabbed.
do? Yeah. The whole time you also have knives, but you have 10 times more knives to stab me with.
Yeah. It's tough. Not good.
I don't think that GSC matchup is good for either elf army, though. Neither Eldari nor
I
Dark
can't
Eldar want
imagine
that matchup,
it's good
even
for
slightly.
Eldar.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
It's cursed, is what it is. Having played it a few times with regular Eldari armies.
Yeah.
You're like, it's really cool that recursion of 20-man brick thing where I don't have many units that critically mass a 20-man brick exists.
Yeah. Unless Lycus is alive, then you'll get one in shooting, another in fighting, and then a third in Overwatch.
True. Except you're getting mortared the whole time.
That you probably won't have a full squad by the time that it starts.
No. I have definitely had an opponent point 3 of them at a aspect warrior unit and watch that aspect warrior unit just vanish in a poof.
No.
They just go away. It's fine. Everything's fine. Look, Skari gives people PTSD just kind of at random floof, and that's how life goes.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think? So I've been hearing more people talk about taking like 30 Hellions in the combat drugs detachment.
That's probably a thing that people can do. Seems like it would be not scary.
It feels like something that you would have to be a very good pilot to be able to pilot that appropriately. Also, I'm not sure how you play that in person because Hellions are
bastards.
Are bastards, yes. Are on fucking ungainly ass bases that make them really hard to pivot around things.
Yeah. Not a fan.
Like, Reavers are already kind of a pain in the ass, right?
They're not
With
too
moving
bad
them
if you
around.
have them on bases that don't weigh nothing.
True. I don't know. After transporting raiders with people on them initially, I took them all off after the first time where they all broke off of it.
Yeah, none of my raiders have anybody on them.
Every transport is empty now. It's just the way that things have to be in order for my life to continue to exist.
Yep.
All right. What else do we want to try to talk about today, bud?
I mean, you've been playing Space Wolves. How's that going?
It's true. Space Wolves are a blast. I've been playing a 20-man brick of Blood Claws with Ragnar Blackmane and enjoying it quite a bit. I played it into triple Repex Black Templars not that long ago and got a draw out of it because I got totaled on the bot because my opponent went bottom of turn 5 and then scored 26 points. Yeah, we talked about this a little bit. It was like a 26-point swing on the bottom of turn 5 because of the because they drew perfect secondary choices and then basically just caught me out on a couple things. And that was like, that's just how it goes. I misplayed some of the stuff like late in that game where I was like, I need to pick up as many pieces as possible. And I wasn't going to try to pick up the Repexes. And I left like one dude alive from the Castellan Sword Brethren unit, which if I had killed him would have prevented Killmore from happening. So I would have won in the like making me feel better about myself kind of way in a singles environment normally, but in a WTC way, I still would have drawn 10-10.
Got up.
But instead we hit the perfect 77-77 tie.
Which is hilarious.
Fine. Yeah. Perfect. Perfectly perfect. I really like the 20-man Blood Claw brick because it does funny shit.
Yeah.
It can literally jam the center of the table with enough models that your opponent just can't get through it, which can be fine for it, or it can go find something that your opponent cannot stand to lose, and then you put a bunch of AP1 potentially Lance like attacks into it with re-rolling all wounds. It can be AP2. And like all of a sudden you're putting like I think it's 60 attacks, three attacks per guy, something like 60 attacks, rerolling all wounds, all hits if you oath something, and then Ragnar can pick up something. Yes, sniping Ragnar out of that brick is funny because it does turn it into something that just kind of doesn't do as much stuff anymore.
Not a very interesting unit once Dad's gone.
No. But it does still do like stuff through sheer volume of hatred is basically what it does.
Yeah. At WTC, I played into someone playing that unit, and when I hit it, I was able to hit it like through a wall, doing like, like basically where it was set up weird.
Mm-hmm.
So I hit it, and he uses the Gladius Fight on Death, and I'm like, that's gonna sting because it's only like 4 or 5 of them, but it's also Ragnar, and I'm like, that's not gonna feel good. So we roll out the activation, and I kill everyone except Ragnar, who is now too far away to activate.
God damn it. That's also, it's not great for the brick to die and for Ragnar just to be there, by the way.
Because then
like,
he's just like,
he's just a dude with a bunch of attacks at that point, and like no wound rerolls, no advance in charge. He's just a guy.
Yeah.
He's just a man. He is good in combat. It was very funny watching that unit like survive a charge from a Sword Brethren unit and then kill the Sword Brethren unit and leave the Emperor's Champion alive by himself.
Whoops.
Who then couldn't kill his way out of that unit and then died.
Right. Sometimes there's too many wolves, dude.
Sometimes there are too many wolves, and sometimes they fall back and charge into you again.
That shit sucks.
It was very funny, though, with that unit rolling just high enough of a charge to string them out to tag like a Repex into combat with the unit. So there was a like 20-man like strung across the entire middle of the board, touching the central objective. Yep. And my opponent was like, I guess I don't get to move anymore. And I was like, no, you definitely don't get to move through those units anymore. Not this turn. They're just in the way. They will die, but they are doing their job of being just fucking annoying. I guess like I also put 3 Vindicators on that list because every list needs freaking anti-tank and it's not coming from anywhere else in the list. You could put Lancers in the list if you were feeling like it. Repexes aren't really any good in the list. I have Head Takers in the army. They can do stuff if they hit their priority target. They're pretty good at that.
Yep.
And the guy who goes with them, a Wolfguard Battle Leader, is probably one of the most efficient, like, cheap characters in the game because he gives that unit essentially reroll 1s to hit, which is pretty good.
Right. Yeah.
And sustained, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Leader mans. Yeah.
Yep. And then you can give him the Honor Behemoth, and he can have Thunder Hammer, so he can do dev wounds and stuff. He's pretty good.
Cracks. He has a bunch of attacks.
Yeah, it's a good unit. And Head Takers are a better Blade Guard variant. Honestly, I think Space Wolves are really good, and I enjoy playing them quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I've decided that I need to focus my energy on one faction, and I have picked Eldar to be the recipient of all my affection for some time.
You could do worse.
It's true. I mean, I got all of them over there to paint and stuff like that. I just might as well focus on one thing at a time and to see how it goes.
Yeah,
100%. Also, my favorite thing, though, from our YouTube chat is just El Valettel saying that they're seeing these names talk trash to each other in chat is well worth being here. It's true. 90% of my amusement for being on this show is just occasionally looking over and seeing 2 well-known players in 40K like just throwing shit at each other in the commentary.
Yep.
Or Floof just saying that they have been doing like the most heinous shit to a Drukhari player by overwatching their transport.
Still fucked up. Still not cool.
Yeah, I don't know if I can forgive Floof for that, to be totally honest. I think Floof is just permanently in the bin for it.
Floof picked a bad time to commit an unforgivable offense, dude. It's the middle of USA Academy applications.
This is being put in your personnel file, Floof.
Wrong person, Floof.
What are you playing right now, if not Drukhari? I know that you haven't been playing like a ton.
World Series still. It's just
okay.
Just playing the 50 list a whole bunch. Yeah. That's it. It's been pretty good. Minor changes have been made as 700 people play it and talk to me about it. So, yeah.
Is that just 50 berserkers with like the appropriate leadership so they can fight through like across the map, essentially? Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's Seth, fair. That is true, dude. My first game action in 10th edition was overwatching Seth's transport to death.
What were you
Oh,
playing where you got to overwatch a transport?
uh, it was release CSM.
Oh, with the Forge Fiend.
No, it was Abaddon's Terminator unit, dude. I just like turned and was like, "Oh, I'm lethal sustained fives," plap, and just killed his box.
I will
Yeah.
say that there's nothing that it has been done to Seth that can be used as evidence that you're a bad person. Because otherwise, I have done terrible things to Seth and his orcs across multiple editions of Warhammer 40k. And
That's funny.
you know what? A Rhea Ripley highlight reel floof is an acceptable reason to be distracted by life.
That gets you back in the good graces. You're
There you go.
fine again.
You're welcome back. I'm for one, like I think the two of us are the proud reason why Seth can no longer listen to Drazar's name being said out loud essentially, and he like gets 1,000-yard stare and starts having flashbacks to his trauma.
I've had that effect on a lot of people. My Drazar is a proper asshole.
I mean, which is fair. Drazar was in 9th edition in particular just like a proper dick to
He was
people.
the fucking best.
He was amazing, and he did things that were just absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
I remember one game where he killed, I did lose this game, but he killed something like 80 Admech Skitari people in that Skitari cohort army.
Nice.
Just killed 80 of them and was at the end screaming from on top of a pile of dead Skitari while I still lost the game.
Yeah.
Because my opponent was like, send in the next wave of Skitari idiots to slow Drazar down repeatedly.
I mean, there somewhere in Hadar's house is 30 custodian guard that man killed.
That's what I really miss. I will admit, the thing that I miss is just Drazar being a hero and murdering the fuck out of everything he touches.
Drazar and his emotional support fight last Archon.
Yeah, it's true though. The buddy comedy we didn't know we needed was a Drazar and his emotional
and his
support
gin-bladed
Archon.
homie just being like, "Shush,
Yeah.
no, Dad's killing you now."
The distraction Carnifex to end all Carnifex is the fight last Archon waving over here so that nobody fights until Drazar gets to fight.
Is that guy waving his arms around?
Drazar kills the whole unit.
Yeah.
You're like, did somebody just activate in combat against us? Activates a second time.
Yeah. Ugh, dancing in and out of interrupts and stuff, dude. The fight phase. What you were.
The only thing we miss about 9th edition, the combat phase.
That's not the only thing. It's so far from the only thing.
Anthony, you're gonna soon become one of those people who, like Innis, like looks back at 5th edition and is like, "I really want 5th edition back." That's what you're starting to sound like a little bit.
So tragic, dude. Give me my 9th back. Fight Last was good. It beats the brakes off the current system. The current system sucks.
I think it's better that there were 3 buckets. It was just weird that people got confused by 3 buckets. Like,
it's so complicated, dude. I can't.
You got into 3 different buckets, folks. You were either fight last, fight first, or fight normal. And people just couldn't accept the fact that they got sorted into one of those 3 buckets.
Yeah. Average 40k viewer doing math and runs is just like, oh, and that's all I got to the number of people at a table.
Sometimes it feels like the average 40k player is the person from Idiocracy trying to put shapes into the thing. That's all I can think of. Movie. No, you shouldn't, because it makes me feel now. I was gonna sneeze. That was the real problem. Yeah, I was gonna weep uncontrollably about Idiocracy. No, Idiocracy makes me think too much about where we're kind of at philosophically and where we're going based off that film. It feels a little bit like too portentous at this point. Yeah. It's also a little old and probably not the best movie. Yeah, Idiocracy is almost just a documentary at this point. It also hasn't aged especially well. 3 people are going to come in with at least 3 are going to come in with the Idiocracy being a documentary at this point. And it's true. That movie does definitely have some vibes of people feeding Gatorade to their plants and then wondering why they're dying.
It's hydrating them, dude. Come on.
It's thirst quenching. Yes, exactly, Anthony. Yeah. You figured it out already.
Yeah.
All right. I'm not going to do plugs because I don't care. No, it's not true. If you want to do all the things for the video, all the things from the video are in the description of the video. Go check out our sponsors like Red Dragon, who you saw with their fancy logo at the opening of this episode. You can also check out J15. I'm going to forget somebody is the reason. I just never do this is the problem. And
just click the links in the description.
Just click the links in the description, folks. There are discounts for all the stuff. Just hit the things. If you join our Patreon, Red Dragon gives you a really nice discount across the entire store. There you go. And that is it. I guess we'll do questions, Anthony.
Right.
Somehow managed to only talk about politics once in the entire episode, and that was at the very beginning, and then
so
just
far,
2 seconds
so
ago.
Look at us. Surely no one will spin us out on the questions part. That never happens.
Not even once has anybody been spun out in the questions. Oh shit, there are so many questions.
Oh no.
There aren't that many. There's like 15. It's okay.
No, that's not that crazy.
Mostly because the first one is question thread, question mark from Davlos, and it's like, yeah, this is a question thread. You started it. I'm very proud of you for starting it and for asking.
Good job.
There's a question just for Innes, which says, please tell Wesley why the DA Wrath list we built works and why he shouldn't mess with it. Have you seen Innes's Wrath list? Do you know why it works?
The problem with this is that I am not Innes. And so, Wesley, I think they're both lying to you. Wrath sucks. Don't play it, dude. Get out of there.
All right, there you go, Davin. There's your answer for Wesley. You'll have to wait until an Innes-based episode to receive any other kinds of advice from us.
Yeah.
Before I get too much further, the other way to get your question answered on air, other than the Patreon thread, which is where I'm reading these from, is to either ask a super chat, ask a really good question, or be a member and take advantage of membership perks like Ben Jurek just did for being a member for 9 months, where he asked the question, what was the best item served on this menu, in reference to the Studio Ghibli themed menu that you served Anna.
The best item?
Yep.
We found a type of vegetarian bacon that's like mycelium based, I think it was. That was really good because she hasn't been able to have bacon in forever because she's a vegetarian. So that was really exciting for her.
Nice. Actually sounds really good. I'm really hungry now.
Dude, it was
really
good.
happening.
I had some. I was like, oh shit! All right, not bacon, but pretty close.
It's like, this is still really good. It's not bacon, but it's still delicious, and sometimes that's all that matters.
I mean, barbecued tempeh fucks, and it's not meat.
Barbecued jackfruit's also really good.
Really?
And it also is not meat, but it is really good. All right, the next question is from Lucas, which is, after coming fourth playing versus Knights in the finals, Innes, how Swedish are you feeling on a scale from 1 to 10?
Very funny. Excellent joke, Lucas. Hell yeah.
I feel like Innes is feeling an 11 on this 10-point scale, even though he's not old enough to know what a Spinal Tap reference is.
He feels about a 4. Come on. The joke is obvious.
Sorry. Fair. I wanted to make a different kind of joke, a Spinal Tap reference. It's fair,
when it's the Swedes, though.
It's more literal, so it's just a 4 on a 10-point scale. Fair enough. Simon H. Pledging politely. Interesting. What do you think is driving the decision for only 4 teams at Battle of Britain to be taking Marines and all of them being Shadowmark?
I think that the slow trickle of inefficiency with regards to like Dark Angels and Blood Angels means that they're no longer favorites. Black Templars didn't really hold up the way that a lot of people thought they might. We're down to +1 to wound Marines to get over the line. Shadowmark is the best of the +1 to wound Marines. That's it. I'm surprised more people didn't take them, but Shadowmark is something that you definitely want like to have a pilot for. You don't want to just be like, you, my generic Marine player that was playing 3 Vindicators and Ballistas. Now you're a Shadowmark pilot. That you probably can't do. So,
what size are the teams at Battle of Britain? Do you know off the top of your head? 8. That's weird then that there's only 4 teams. Although, how many teams are at Battle of Britain?
Not a lot. It's like 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fair. That's actually a lot of teams taking Marines at that point. If it's only
not really,
like 10
because
teams.
You would expect in most metas, every team has Marines and 8s.
That's fair. I guess that's more fair. Yeah, I guess 4 out of 10 still sounds like a lot, but it's not a lot for Marines. Is really the fair assessment to make. Ilpispi, dang it, that was hard for my brain to process, asks, Desolators and Shadowmark Talon on WTC, or do they cost too much?
I think they're too expensive. I don't know enough about this army. This is a bad week for me to not know anything about the one thing that people keep
It is
asking
true.
about.
Everybody's going to ask about the one thing that we don't know anything about. I think that you're right that Desolators are still too expensive, and you might as well just take Centurions because you can just move them around and pop angles anyways.
Well, I think they're doing that. I think they're talking about like the indirect aspect of Desolators, for which you have 2 Van Vet squads.
Correct. I mean, you can, like, if you really want to take advantage of plunging fire, there are cheaper ways to do it, it feels like, than to take Desolators.
You just don't need to, right?
You just don't
Desolators are
do
great
that,
for that thing, but they're just not a thing that is super necessary right now, I don't think.
People are arguing about whether I'm too old or too young in this. You're just not young enough anymore in the commentary in the YouTube chat.
People
And it
having
all
to
started.
argue about it means that you're old.
It's true. Yeah, Joshi saying Spinal Tap Idiocracy and me aging myself a lot here is happening.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yep.
All right. Henry the Wizard has the next question. It better be about penguins. I don't know why. I just assume it should be about penguins.
Okay, let's see.
It is not. At what point do you determine that you are confident enough about your matrix? Do you ever feel like you'd be better off saying, I don't know about a matchup instead of either giving a very wrong guess on the outcome or basing it off meta stats alone?
Oh my god, absolutely always just say I don't know if you don't know. The only thing less useful than no matrix is a wrong matrix.
So I want to say to everybody that one of the things you're taught in your dissertation when you're defending it in front of people is that it is okay to say I don't know to things when people ask you questions you don't know the answer to. Because like Anthony said, it's worse to just bullshit your way through it and then sound like crazy or be wrong, because like that's worse.
Yeah. just don't do that with matrixing.
Yep.
Just if your team is at that point where like a bunch of you are just gonna write I don't know or put like stat checks data, just vibe it. Just, do you think this is good? When you get to the table, just hold 2 cards, show them to the other person. Like, just you're gonna only do damage to yourself.
Yep. Brian has the next question, which is, what change do you think would be needed for core Marine Terminators, either regular assault or assault, to make them a competitive choice in singles?
I think with the way that they've proliferated damage 3 through a bunch of shit, you need to knock people's elite infantry back to like up to 4 wounds. Because it still takes 2 damage 2 hits to get through to kill them, but it's less daft. So like, you know, and that, I think that's like across the spectrum, that's true. Like, you know, Terminators, like fucking possessed stuff, flawless blades, like shit like that all could be 4 wounds.
Yeah. I mean, like Wolfguard Terminators get taken because they are 4 wounds and -1 to wound kind of transhuman nonsense,
but that's
right?
the same. All the Terminators that get used have 4 wounds and then something else that makes them attractive. These guys just don't.
Yeah, I think you need to give them 4 wounds and you need to make them hit on 2s is probably like part of it as well for like Terminators specifically because they're expensive. I can't say for every single elite infantry, but 4 wounds is probably a good place to start on some of that stuff. Opal Bear Black or Will asks, what is the best advice for trying to make a shift on your playstyle for a radically different army? Trying to switch from playing trading elves to Emperor's Children always seem to revert back to trading more passive playstyle as the game progresses.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people do that. It's very comfortable, you know, particularly if you're playing. All right, so the thing with Eldar is that they're not actually a trading army. They're trying to convince you to play a trading game with them because they're so much like blindingly better at it that they might as well be cheating. So they're not actually playing a trading game. They're trying to convince you to engage in one with them. EC is doing basically the opposite, where you're like, it'd be really funny if we played a trading game. Oh no. And then you just build up a bit of count and then you rush all at the same time and finish the game.
Yep.
So you're just kind of having to, I mean, for the person asking the question, this is you're going to have to reverse engineer how you would normally play and do that kind of the other way around.
That makes sense. And I think you just have to teach yourself, right? Like you have to do some repetition in there to like teach yourself not to do the thing that you're comfortable and used to. So you just have to lean into it and practice doing the thing that you're uncomfortable with and just doing it. And then it'll eventually become like a process that you do normally, right?
Yep.
Dave, in parentheses, asks, what changes to phases would you like to see in the next edition? Personally, I'd like to see the removal of end phase or beginning of phase abilities and stratagems.
I like it on abilities, like things like the 4-up invuln and stuff like that. Like being able to like juke that is cool. Um, but I don't think like I don't really think any of that should change. Stuff like this is very much in the space of where I'm like, please just don't. Maybe just leave it. Maybe it's okay. Because every time they try and touch stuff like this, it's always like, no, what have you done?
I think that they need to introduce like a stack kind of to Warhammer 40k at some
Sure.
point. I think that would help with parsing a lot of the immediately after and like the order of things. Like they just
Yeah.
need to like
Or hire someone to edit to make sure all the things are consistent,
yeah, they just need some kind of stack or they need something like that. Like you need some sub phases to kind of help you walk through some things a little bit better. And if they did that, the edition would be good. I actually think the like rules for this edition are mostly like fine to like better than previous editions. It just has some like it has like the framework for a stack without treating it like a stack that causes problems and arguments.
It was easier last edition, I felt like, too. It just didn't, you were just like, who's active? Oh, okay.
Yep. I mean, I guess there's part of that. I had way more arguments last edition than I have had this edition about things, it feels like.
Oh,
But they've been different kinds of arguments.
we interact
We
with the
play
charge phase in different ways, sir.
we do. I do remember the one time I pulled some like freaking combat phase shenanigans in ninth edition, and somebody's like, hold on a second. What the fuck just happened? And I was like, look, so you do this, and then this happens, and then that happens. And they're like, I'm choosing to believe you and that you're not trying to screw me over. And I was like, thanks, that's cool. Let's do it that way.
Dude, that's all 10th is. Everything
Yeah.
nowadays is very like, well, this is what I'm doing. This is why. It sucks.
Sean has the next question, which is, what other games do you think could make a fun teams format?
If you're not, if you are into Souls likes at all, Elden Ring has a thing called Bingo Brawlers where they take two players and they make them do stuff in the game and race on a bingo board, and that is a hilarious teams format when they do them that way.
I've had fun playing Commander where the person to everybody's left is on their team. So like the teams are kind of weirdly mixed together, and it is very funny. Because you're trying to get the person to your left to win somehow with you, but the person to your right who's allied with you is trying to remove that person to your left at the same time. So it creates some fun conundrums. It's not the same kind of teams format, but it is a lot of fun.
Fair.
I play a lot of single player games, so I just don't have the experience for this. Like I've been playing a lot of Ghosts of Yote and Pokemon ZA over the last couple weeks. Like
Nice.
I don't know how teams work for Yote.
It's not, yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't help. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, fair.
Aaron Imperialis Knight has the next question, which is, I often find myself doing well in matchups I perceive as bad and losing diff on matchups I feel confident in. How do I stop cursing myself in these matchups and keep myself on track?
Most of it is just playing the game as it is in front of you. Like once a game starts, the fact that you were favored or disfavored matters much less than the fact that you are here now playing the Warhammers, and people can make mistakes and you have to keep a keen eye out for what those mistakes are so that you can go beat them up when they make them.
I think part of it is you get too confident in the matchup that you're in, and so you stop keeping as close attention to like your play pattern, right? And so you play a little looser because you're really confident in the matchup, and that lets people in. Whereas in the matchup you perceive as bad, you're playing like 100% focus on what you're doing.
Yep.
Yep.
I mean, it depends on people. Some people check out in matchups that they perceive as unwinnable too. So
that's true. That is totally fair. It sounds like those are both things that you need to work on, right?
Right.
To make sure you don't do
check
either
out.
of them.
Pay attention.
Yeah, don't check out is like the actual advice to take from that. Don't check out. Alex R. Is it worth playing the White Scars detachment without a Storm Raven? If so, what would that look like?
I don't think so.
I think you should just play it with a Storm Raven, since it's like you can make it -1 to hit, -1 to wound, and it's -1 damage all the time. Like you just want your big brick to do big brick things, right?
It's very good. Yeah.
If you're just trying to avoid buying it, I understand. But you should just buy it.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to buy a plane now either, but you know.
All right. John Ath, also John Leonard, is next. Is just finished watching a video on NATO using war games as training for officers. Here we go, Anthony. Given time to learn the system and to prep, how do you think a WTC team would do against actual military officers?
You would beat them into the fucking floor. Like, military officers
Yeah.
play 40K all the time, and they're not often on their WTC teams. Like,
There is an esports team. The Army has an esports team that
yeah.
plays at Warhammer 40K
And
events. You can
every
see them
so
there.
often, some of them are pretty good.
Correct.
But
like they're two
we're
very
talking about the
different
wrong
skills.
thing.
Yeah, these are two very different skills, right?
Yeah.
And it honestly, the esports team is entirely a recruitment tool. That's what it is.
Right.
They want to get pasty nerds to not just kind of not have joined the military. They want them to join the military.
They do spend more time at guard tables for sure.
True. All right. Next is from Isaac Shadow Crayon. That makes me very amused, actually. I
So
love
good.
that. Shadow Crayon is great. Do you believe in the Whirlwind plus Desso's Hammer of Averni list?
No.
There you go. Any advice for Academy applications?
When you fill out your application, put a lot of effort into it. Don't phone it in. We do pay attention to stuff like that, and it matters a lot.
All right. Is there anything that you think people should focus on when they're doing their applications, or should they just kind of freeform it a little bit?
The applications are pretty guided now. There's a lot of like info in them, and the questions ask kind of the things we're looking for now because we put a little bit of effort into improving that side of things. So yeah, no, for the most part, that's it. I mean, like, you know, what people should focus on what they can bring to the team, right?
And what are the deadlines for applications since we're talking about this topic?
I think you've got I want to say 10 days from now.
10 days. There you go.
Yeah. So, yep. Most
Helping
of
you
it is
all out
effort.
by
It's basically just like, can we tell from how you wrote it that you gave a shit? And that's going to be a lot of what gets you over the line if you are, you know, not someone that you have an internal vouch for.
There you go. How much of Emperor's Children gameplay is running around doing actions, standing on points, playing normally versus I can score points once I table the other guy in quotation marks?
I mean, you have plenty of like random shit to do actions in EC. Like there are units that aren't good at combat in those lists, right? They normally have 2 to 3 rhinos. They have 1 to 2 tormentor units. Like not all of that needs to be like turbo activating super hard every turn. You're just trying to build up a couple of like chip kills, get to 5 points where your units can kill basically anything, and fucking go forth and conquer.
Nice. Alternative Clover, or Ian, says, Dear Anthony,
Oh no.
as you are the shepherd, and I am but a humble fledgling cultist, I have acquired the proper Triple Prince list, despite the Discord's tempting me with other builds, and signed up for an event this Saturday.
Yeah.
I will do my best to bring glory to the Legion.
Yeah.
But as a real question, what's everyone's favorite cacophonist kit back they've ever seen? I cheated and made my robot go burr to get one, but I'm now trying to make a fully plastic GW model just in case. Is there a favorite cacophonist kit bash you've seen, Anthony?
I haven't seen any that like were like super crazy. I saw someone like do a pretty involved one using a Saturnine Terminator, and putting like speakers in his shoulders, and that was kind of funny. That's the
I
only
do like
context
that.
in which those stupid ass looking shoulders make sense. But yeah, that's I think that's basically the only one that I've seen.
I've seen some people use like the guitar wielding Noise Marine for a couple, which I really like because I think the Noise Marine guitar wielder is a really cool model. But otherwise, it is mostly like I think the Saturnine, and then some people putting some other speakers. I think the best one would be if somebody put like an actual tiny Bluetooth speaker on his back and like had it play music during the game while moving him around the table. I think that would be the best.
Fantastic.
So if somebody does that, that's what you should do. Floof, #1 fan of Hypers, has the next question, which is, Anthony, can I bribe you with the dog or cat picks for your vote?
You cannot, tragically. The Team USA voting process is one of the few areas in my life I am uncorruptible and immune to bribery.
And then Logan has the next question, which is Angron yet? ?
I really think that Homeboy, I know world leaders are in a perfectly balanced position right now, but I really think that the complete like lack of a reason to run Angron is a real shame. Especially as I've been rereading a bunch of the like various world leader books in the Heresy. it's just sad. Sucks that you can't. There's not like really a good way to want to use him right now, because Exalted kind of took his job. Um, I don't know. I'm hopeful they'll figure out a way to make him good that doesn't also like combine with the other parts of the faction that are really strong and like unbalance themselves. So hopefully it
Sure.
works out. I would hope. I really, really, really hope to see some change for him though. He is, he is not that great right now. He is functionally lost 2 inches of movement compared to everybody else in the book, and he can no longer advance in charge. So just give me something, give me a little something. Or is
He
really
doesn't.
are the crux of the issue. His melee profiles are fine, but his like datasheet rule being the res is kind of scuffed, and his auras don't do anything really. So
That makes sense. Yeah, it is kind of hard when you look at his points cost and are like, I could take 2 units of 3 Exalted instead, just
and a
like
slaughter
off the
bound.
cuff, and a slaughter bound for each of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is hard to make a case where he is better than those two currently in the state of
Yeah,
the game.
and Exalted aren't like that crazy. Like it's a reasonable comparison. The problem is that the Exalted stuff is more reliable because it's more attacks, and Angron's a 9 attack dude with no rerolls.
Yep.
So sometimes you do no damage to a Lancer and then get 20 by Germany. Not a Lancer, whatever the fuck that
Fair.
was. Atropos.
Some kind of knight doing some kind of thing to you. It's fair.
Yeah.
One of our cats just climbed into a box of Halloween decorations. It is still full of Halloween decorations. I don't know why the cat has decided to do that today.
Attack!
Very peaceful, actually. She climbed into it, laid down in it, and then was like, this is actually not comfortable, and then left the box.
Yeah, fair.
You know what? Reasonable. It's full of various skulls and things, cat. I can't imagine that was comfortable.
Yeah, no, probably not.
All right. On that note, we are out of questions.
We did it.
We did it. We have made a show, Anthony, and we didn't try to get canceled even once through the process of the show.
Dennis will be so proud.
I know. I will say though, we were correct, and everybody should know we were correct when we said that the current global climate and Kimura are basically the same thing.
Oh yeah, living here is just a day in the dark city.
Yep. And you should all make sure your knives are out at all times to protect yourself in that situation.
Just in case.
Yeah. Or form a cabal of like-minded individuals to protect each other in a community.
Yep.
It's important.
Some form of social setting.
Yeah, some sort of social setting. I don't know what you could call those things.
Anyway.
Anyways, on to this last bit. If you've been with us for an hour and a half of whatever bullshit me and Anthony have decided to get up to, I appreciate you. Thank you all 140 some odd of you who decided to stick it out for us with about 90 minutes of content. We appreciate you greatly. If you want to join our $15 a month tier, you can get what is about to happen, which is you can write a customized thank you note that I will announce at the end of every show, because I don't know why we still do this, but we still do it. And I'm going to thank all the people from the Chris Pie 5 tier. This is one of the benefits you get. You get a bunch of other in-person benefits if you really want, including kisses from our Polish members and tokens from me if you see me at an event. And you can claim a Chris Pie 5 from any of the members of StatCheck, essentially. That's the rule. They have to give it to you. It's the thing.
That's true.
We are contractually obligated. All right. So, thank you to Christopher. If Death Guard become Codex compliant, can they get +1 to wound 2? Irvine. You need to change that, Chris. I love you dearly, but you need to change it. It's been that for a while. I demand some creativity from these if I'm going to read them every week on the show, on air.
Together, folks.
Thank you to Willow Weeks. Thank you to Dan F. Thank you to Luke. Harridan's taking the subway McCarthy. You too, Luke. Get on that. Change it to make me laugh. Thank you to David. Crude alone, ... weak. Crude together, ... strong. Clark. That one's so funny. Mostly because I want to read out the ellipses. Thank you to Exhausted. That is how we all are. And I actually appreciate that you are still exhausted after all this time. Thank you to James H. Thank you to Colton Dan F. Miller. Thank you to Fungus. Thank you to John V8 Gang. When will we get the Cult of the High Six? I don't know. Maybe never.
That's how we do it, dude.
That is how we did it. Yeah. Thank you to Cam, F. Dan, Morton, Hog Emoji, Hog Emoji. Thank you to Lady Malice's Footstool. Thank you to Josiah Kettle. It's so good. That one is also as good. It's just classic. Thank you to Frankie, Sneaky Beaky Fresh. That one's, I actually kind of like that one just because it's fun. Thank you to Isaac. Tonight on Stat Check, Innes died, in parentheses, when did he last miss a video? Question mark. Nathan philosophy waxed on the high art movie Idiocracy, and Anthony tell what numbers mean to Rada. Thank you for
excellent work.
I'm going to put that into the description of this episode perhaps later, just because I think that's fair. You know, that's a fine summary of this episode. That's what happened today. Thank you to Please Nerf the Guardsman Games Workshop. My locals are starting to believe in the Horde.
Oh, no.
That's not good. Thank you to Thomas Rekoijan, but upside down. Thank you to Stephen. Please don't run indirect. I want to run solo Psychomancers, Ross. Unfortunately, I think a lot of people are about to run triple frickin' whirlwinds in that Iron Hands detachment, even though it's probably not the best way to run that detachment. They're going to do it anyways, though. Yeah. Thank you to Tom Wooden Spoon Winner H. Thank you to I still have 3.5 factions to hobby, and I'm already looking at another one. Send help.
Cut it out, dude. Knock it
off. Thank you to Hart. Thank you to Floof. Final Day is the best tiered detachment they have access to, Cox. That might be true.
That's probably real.
And that is the second hurtful thing you've said today about a thing that I love, and I don't like that you did it, Floof.
Floof's just fucking your shit up this week, Nathan.
Fucking Floof really taking it to me this week. I don't like it. Thank you to Come With Me on a Gucci Adventure, trademark. Thank you to Joe, statistically irrelevant, but emotionally invested. I love that, actually. That's really good. Yeah, salute.
Me too, buddy.
Thank you to Line Blank, but John Garza. Thank you to Henry. Emperor penguins can dive nearly 2,000 feet in search of fish and squid the wizard. Thank you for returning to my penguin facts. Also, there are 2 tabs at the bottom of this. One of them says Nathan likes big tabs and he cannot lie. It's true. I do like big tabs. Mm-hmm. There's nothing in it, though. So, it's just a big empty tab, which that's no fun for anyone. Yeah. And then the second one says, don't tell the cops. So I won't tell the cops about it.
I'll just keep that to myself, I guess.
I'm just going to keep that one mostly to myself. Actually, Innes isn't here and he won't go and delete it. So it's a new fanfic tab. Don't tell the cops. And I looked at it, and it's not empty. And the first line just says, Lowergar stood there.
Nope. Get out of there, dude.
And I backed out of that tab really fast and was
that's a good place to get away from.
It's true. And then with that, thank you, everyone, for being here. Anthony, do you have any parting words of wisdom for the audience as they go off into the rest of their week?
If you're a patron of the channel, a while ago, I pinned something in the general chat. That is a clip from Fireside. Go watch that.
And on that note, bye-bye.